TCP.
Allow me to introduce myself. A new delivery coming off the shelf. Blessed with technique and in good health. And this is what I'm all about.
My name is Kans, I don't need no introduction. Stick to the plan, this is how I ride a function. Stacking and grand, do it without interruption. And this is what I'm all about.
February 1st, 1984. St. Francis Maternity Ward. A folks were born that couldn't be known. The illest king was coming out.
79, I was yelling out my first rhyme. Knew I would shine when I cried out the first time. Think of it now, that was sorta like my first line. But we just keep them coming out.
And we're a revolution now. Yeah. And you can't touch the champion sound. No. Standing up from the underground. You already know we hold it down. You already know we hold it down. Influences, I have plenty. I would list them all, but I think they're too many. Thanks my brothers, I wouldn't have any. Grateful for their gifts, no doubt.
Hip-hop lives, I'ma show you where the heart is. With TCP and Tree City partners. Poughkeepsie beats, we move through the darkness. Like we the only crew around.
So I linked up with the squad as a tree, sending music through the air like breeze, blessing ears in the community, and this is what we here for now.
B-R-E-double-T laughing, ear to the streets, B&C what's happening. They just singing and they're just rapping. We're putting real music out.
Cause we're a revolution now. And you can't touch the champion sound. No.
Yeah,
You already know TCP holds it down.
it's TCP.
We're bringing the power kingdom to higher ground. Bring the power kingdom to higher ground.
I've got a plan. I'm reflecting to nature to act the fruit, to release sun's potential. Then release the release. Then release the release. I hear the snake in the tree. He's calling you and me. So let's make it receive and be free, and be free, and be free. Release the release. Release the release. Can't run, but you can. I'm the sun on the sky. I am the reason why. Both you and I will be together till the end of my brain is a master's invention. I can't explain. It just releases us from tension. Release the release. I'm the sun on the sky. I am the reason why. The waters of the sea rise, and we be together till
Are you there?
Yo, yeah.
Hey.
Let's get in, man. Yeah,
Alright.
I've got a big Alfred and that music you're playing from the Bike Thieves community, man. I'm telling you.
That music I was just playing, those were some of Brett's songs.
No way.
Yeah.
I actually liked it, man. I was like dancing in my living room.
Yeah, the last one that was on, I did
Bike
I
Thief
did the
was
music
so
for. The one that was just playing, I did the music for, and he did the vocals. And then the one before it, a different friend of his did the music, and it's him and another friend of ours
No
rapping
way.
on it. Yeah,
Usually your stuff is shit. That was good.
I don't know what you're
Oh,
talking about.
good for you, man.
That's some of my
that's
oldest
good, man.
stuff.
That's what I was not expecting that. It's good for you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
send us a copy, man. I like that.
yeah, sure. I'll send you the links for that. And there's part of a reason why I was playing that, because Brett actually is a focal point of what I want to talk about
Where
today.
is Brett, man?
Being a scared little bitch.
Is he buying it? Is he? Oh, the corona! Oh no!
You know, it's you know. See, here's the weird thing about it. Is I can't tell. All right, I had a conversation with him yesterday that was mainly about the place that employs us both, although we work at two different ends of it, basically. And now they're saying we're going to be open by, like, May 18th-ish. This is, like, the inside word. And he's saying he doesn't know how they're going to do that. They can't do this yet, you know, this, and that. Now, my thought process is operating under the guise in which all of this, you know, seems to be. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do it if we are to function within the framework that has been
I'm with Brett
presented
on
to
this.
us.
I see where this is going. Yeah.
But the thing is like, I'm talking to Brett and I'm having this conversation with him where first off, oh damn, I just brought that phone to the basement. He left me the funniest voicemail of him being like, "Hello, this is a automated call for James Scott. I am calling to inform you about the latest COVID.
19. Yeah.
COVID. Quarantine. COVID. 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 Like, and he starts beatboxing and just, it's hysterical. But anyway, so I'm talking to him about it, and I'm telling him, you know, the whole thing of, like, someone gets eaten by a shark, mark it down as COVID. Someone dies in a car accident, mark it down as COVID, you know? And I'm just going through all these layers being like, listen, I don't even know if this shit is real anymore. Like, they haven't isolated it. You can't believe anything too much, and everything gets contradicted 2 days later. So I'm like, I don't feel in danger by it or anything like that.
Hang on, the
But-
people giving us advice, right, are the same people that telling us they're going to teach kids how to masturbate
Yeah.
from age 0 to 4.
Or it's like Chris Cuomo, you know, with his whole fucking I'm sick, but then I'm gonna go out
Is
and
that
fucking
guy with the
yell at
nipple-
people.
nipples?
No, it's his brother actually.
Oh,
with
right.
the-
Yeah, they're quite funny, though.
Yeah. So now here's the thing, though, and actually, a mutual friend of ours, Dave, is in the chat, and he'll back me up on this. Brett is the type of
Get Dave in the chat, man.
Brett is he's already there.
No, like, let's hear him. Should I call him up? Give him the number.
I don't know
Phone it.
how to do that. I'm sure there is a way to three-way
You
call
can do it
on
on
here.
Facebook, can't you? You just
Yeah.
need to open the account.
Yeah, I don't know, Dave. Let us know if you want to pop in on the voice call. I can add you to it. So anyway, Brett's the type of person that will get the flu shot every year and then a week later be sick with the flu and never correlate the two as somewhat connected, or at least even realize, like, I'm shooting myself up with some shit that's obviously useless because I'm getting sick every year. So it's weird where it's like he'll be aware of everything and he'll know everything that I know, but he'll still just go along with the status quo, essentially.
Yeah, that sounds a bit weird. Sounds like you're talking about a different guy.
Yeah, it really is. It's the oddest thing. Because,
Yeah, well,
like I said, he knows everything, but then he just doesn't act in accordance to it.
We're
Like-
going deeper into the lockdown, I reckon, here.
Yo, you know what's the funniest thing is I watch a handful of podcasts that recap all the wrestling shows for the week, so I don't really need to watch them. And they all are from Britain, and they just buy into this shit so much, because over here, professional wrestling is the only sport that's still going. Everyone else shut down. UFC, football, baseball, basketball, and everyone's been criticizing them. But it's like, it's 3 people in a ring. As long as they're changing the stuff, again, if we're operating under the premise that we are given, shouldn't be an issue. But I mean, they buy into it 110%, and it's like this little eye into the mind of the average
Boris
British.
just wants to reduce things a little bit on Sunday, and everyone's like, no. We've had polls. Probably looking about 80% want the lockdown to continue. About 60% want it to be more draconian. Yeah. So, I mean, like, I'm like one of the only people. It's almost like I'm just walking around going, put these glasses on, man, or start chewing concrete. Because it is like a fucking episode out of They Live, man.
Yeah. Well,
At the moment. And yeah.
you know, that would.
I can't believe I'm sitting like my neighbour can probably hear this. But he was on his way to becoming like a famous DJ. I was like talking to him, and he had the cheek to call me a conspiracy theorist. And it's like, dude, you are locked in your little dingy flat. Your mum tidies your flat still. You won't leave the fucking place, and your job is gone. It is not coming back.
Yeah.
Ever. They told you it's going to be 2 weeks. Oh, then we're going to merge it with the summer holidays. We're like, it's nearly 60 days in.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like
see, and
every
that's
day Sunday now. Like, I used to look forward to Sunday. Now every day Sunday. I don't even know what day it is Sundays, man.
yeah. It's I don't know.
People are still calling me a conspiracy theorist. They're like, oh, it's like.
Well, you know what's
I mean,
funny
I don't need
even.
to give you the spill, but you know, it's like you're not aware of what situation where this is going.
Well, it's funny.
You've
I
got no
was
idea.
driving around doing errands with my mom the other day, and I was talking to her, and I told her, I said, Mom, I really wish you just weren't so unquestioning and pro-establishment. And she said, what are you talking about? I've always been known as being the one who questions things and this and that. I said, well, I'd like to see that side of you. I said, because oh, thank you, honey.
Nice.
Thank you. Sorry, my niece, I dropped a guitar pick outside my room, so she wanted to give it to me. But so I asked her, I said, what about this whole thing going on? Do you not question or do you not think is right? Because I'll bring up things like, why are we going to the Microsoft nerd for medical advice? And she'll be like, Like, and I can see the gears are turning, but it still is, I mean, she is just go along with it. And I don't know if it's a go along to get along thing or what, but it's like it's funny, I
A lot of
watched,
people enjoy it now over here.
well, you know the guy who does the videos, there's the guy who does the videos, The Ultra Spiritual Life. He just did a video about believing mainstream, and it's hysterical. And one of the points he makes in is he's like, you know, I don't bother with new information because I just made up my mind when I was the most scared, and I'm fine with that because why would I want to think about anything else? I'm already afraid. Like, and it's like a 12-minute video, and he just rips apart every point in this sort of manner as to, you know, basically mock the people that are like, oh yeah, like I brought this up to my boss the other day. She's now banned off Facebook. Where I said the thing about what was it? Something about Bill Gates. Damn it, I just lost my train of thought. I said the same
So
people.
why are we going to Bill Gates? Why is he?
Well, yeah,
king?
the same
Who
people.
elected him?
Well, and here's the thing: the same people that are always like the 1% are crooks, the 1%, and then it's like, what is Bill Gates' authority in all of this besides being part of that 1%? Like, that's his credentials. And the same people that are railing against the group in a vague sense, then when it comes to a specific issue, it's like, oh, well, Bill Gates has enough money to be an authority on anything, whether it's GMOs or vaccines or overpopulation or climate change. I mean, fuck, when's the last time you heard Bill Gates talk about something concerning a computer? You know what I mean?
The Bill and Gary Foundation, I call it. That's a dude, man.
Probably.
No, it is. I'm like 100% convinced. It's Bill and Gary Foundation, and I think Bill is. I think it is actually reversed. You look at it. I think Bill is the female. If you look at him when he was younger, he passes as a woman. I'm not just saying that to like have a go at Bill Gates. His bodily features are extremely feminine, especially the hip ratio. That's a woman. If you just look
Wouldn't
at the
doubt
jaw,
it.
That's a jaw implant. I'm telling you.
I wouldn't doubt it. But the
Bring
thing
up
that
a photo of Bill and Gary.
the thing that bothers me the most, the thing I brought up last time, and I was glad yesterday, Alex Jones and
Don't you remember we predicted this on our New Year's Eve show?
as far as
You obviously
which,
don't remember.
well, I don't
That
know
was
which
my
you're
last
referring
prediction.
to.
I didn't quite get it down, but we were like, "Oh, what are they going to do for the election?" I'm like, and we both agreed that with the ritualistic aspect of what was it? Who are those idiots with the activists who are there? Extinction Rebellion, that
Yeah.
was it, and the XR and bringing the carbon down. We were like, either there has to be something big enough where I said natural disaster, where everyone will have to be quarantined, locked down. Don't you remember that?
Yeah.
This one's got to be the big one of all.
I'm
I think we were pretty close to actually
I'm
nailing it.
with you on jaw implant, all the way.
With what?
Jaw,
Sorry?
Bill Gates jaw implant, definitely.
It is a jaw implant, isn't it?
No, that's
Not just
yeah.
saying that to be a cunt. That's a jaw implant.
I mean,
If you put your
because
hand
because
over
here's
jaw,
here's the
it's
thing.
very feminine.
Well,
That jaw really makes it look masculine.
I was
You
going to
think
say
so?
that. I mean, that is the most manly jaw on the most effeminate man.
Oh, and Gary, mate, Gary could take a baseball bat to the jaw, I reckon.
Yeah.
I'm not just being harsh. That's the reversal. Bill's obviously the woman, and Gary's the dude.
Yeah, I could
It's the
definitely
same with-
see that.
Me and my wife, Michael, Michelle. Never mind. Chew soap. Settle down out there. Chew soap. Me and Michael. Michelle. Forget it. We're living in a bubble. Isolation. In a bubble. And when we go out, we'll both be in a bubble.
But you- Yeah, it's interesting how, I mean, finally they're talking about the elections again, but for a while that was
gone on about chewing soap.
I don't know.
Chew soap.
You know, it was irritating today. I was looking for
Okay, he suggested my Obama impressions irritating.
huh?
Never mind.
I was searching for clips earlier from Biden, Bernie, and Trump, and I was like typing into YouTube like Donald Trump's best insults or Donald Trump's greatest, whatever. All I got, I'm telling you, and I scrolled and scrolled and scrolled and scrolled. All it was CNN, CBS, NBC, Washington Post, Telegraph, like endless mainstream sources to the point where it got irrelevant. Like, it didn't have anything to do with my search. But it's like YouTube right now is really like authoritative source central.
Yeah. Well, they're being regulated by the WHO. If it is, I'm not going to go down that road, actually, because it's just too murky. All I was going to say is, like, Bill Gates is in bed with China way before this virus is too. Like, if you think about Silicon Valley in China, so...
Well, you know what
And
really...
the reason they've got the social credit score out there in China is because of Gatesy.
The thing that really started to kind of sadden me last night was, like, the sort of useless idiots in all of it, where it's like, you have people that, for example, Post Malone on YouTube did this Nirvana tribute show, and he had all the money from it, the super chats and all that stuff, go to, one of these World Health Organization things, and it's like...
Yeah, all band, I saw that. I think all music seems to be going that way.
But it's like, the part that saddens me, though, is like, you're getting people that are probably out of work or about to be hit by this economic, disaster tidal
You
wave.
get Bill Gates.
Yeah, and you're funneling their money under the guise of this hoax to this guy who, yeah, I mean, it's that part really just started to upset me
England's like
last
the most
night.
scariest speaks. People are loving it. And I've got two theories behind it, which are kind of a joke, but they're kind of true. One of them is, I think, because they've banned so many people from speaking online, it's all AI now. everything's a supercomputer to plan how people react, what they'll do.
Yeah.
And that's what you see now. Like they're going, well, on Sunday, Boris is going to announce what the restrictions will be, and then all they've got to do is look at the comments, and they can figure out what's going to be popular and what's not going to be popular, and what the general feedback is. But if you ban everyone like YouTube are doing, all you're left with are the fucking retards. So I wonder if that's been funneled into a supercomputer, the fact that everyone's banned. So the only people you've got left giving feedback to the all supreme Lucifer are fucking retards, just the leftists, just the libtards. So the Lucifer that they raised through the AI is just going to be the biggest libtard of all time, man. It's going to be easy to take him down. I don't think Jesus needs to come back now. Jesus, like, you've got this, guys. It's a fucking libtard. But what was the other thing? Yeah, so you got that aspect that the AI is all wrong. Oh yeah, also we've got such a bad immigration problem that if we've got all these, let's just call them muzzies, who aren't going to be in the workforce, of course they're going to want lockdown, aren't they? Because they're going to get a little bit more money.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm sort of wondering at this point, like,
people don't see like what the nudge that's being put forward now. There's two things I want to bring up. Is we're going to have shit. I lost my train of thought there. Is one thing I want to bring up is that dude who was doctor with his pants down. Everyone's got that one. If you've seen that, the guy in England who had to get their advice from. The people aren't getting what that's about. All that story's a lie. That guy's a cuck. He's not getting laid by anyone. What really happened is they've made the story up, so it causes a false hysteria. And once the hysteria starts, it's like, well, he should get a visit from the cops. Oh, well, he should get fined for it. And then we're going to get visit from... You're just normalising it so we get visit from the cops when we break the rules.
Yeah.
And get fines. You're just... What are you doing?
I could see that.
He's not laying that chick. That chick is just stupid.
That makes sense, though.
I lost my other point there. What was I talking about? I was talking about AI, how that's matching it. And then it was like migrants are going to want to be unemployed. Oh, yeah, you are seeing a nudge that everyone's on this furlough payments. And I had to Google what that word meant. So you're getting 80% of your money from the government. And they're going to do that for. They're stopping that pretty soon.
Really?
It's like, yeah. It's like, how did you not see this coming?
Yeah.
That you're going back to work? Because I've been starting a trend on Facebook, because some of my friends are not getting it. I'm like showing airlines going bust. I'm like, guys, holidays, not coming back. The car industry, there hasn't been any cars sold. It's like the car industry, guys, it's not coming back. It's going to restrict your ability to travel. It's not coming back. Airbnb, guys, I don't think it's coming back. Everything that you're seeing,
even this whole ride-sharing thing, Uber and Lyft.
Pubs.
Yeah.
Pubs are not coming back, guys. Because even when they do come back, once you add the social restriction to it, you're looking at $1,000 for a beer and a steak.
See, that's what...
You're going to have to pay someone just to service you.
That's what me and Brett were saying about the place I work at.
That's right.
Where it's like...
You've got a choice. You either ignore the rules completely,
yeah,
or you go bust. There's no playing ball with these people over this. You run a restaurant, you're going to run at, what, 30% capacity?
Yeah,
and people,
restaurants can't do that.
They're even putting greenhouses up in as to do like a mock of what it would be like, and everyone's in a pub, and there's just two people sat in the greenhouse. Greenhouse. It's like, what are you going to do during summer? Just bake to death?
Well, and that's the thing,
like,
you know.
Do you not get what a greenhouse is?
The place I work at, again, they're saying May 18th, and it's like me and Brett were saying, with what they're saying with phases, like May 18th, like they still want social distancing. I work in a 3-bedroom apartment. There is a living room, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3. And then I'm in the main room with the living room area where there's the filing cabinets and the computer and all that stuff. And then there's a kitchen and a shared bathroom for 2 of the rooms, and then another bathroom for the main room. But there still isn't enough space for the idea of social distancing to even be possible. And now the other thing is, they anytime we're like, we need better screening, you know, we're not supposed to have people here on drugs, people are showing up high, you know, people are supposed to bring their own food, they don't have any food, you know, we can't have them here for 5 days not fed. And they always say, well, we want the screening process to be as minimal as possible because we don't want to upset someone's mental illness or, you know, trigger them or anything like that. And it's like, okay, but all you're basically saying is, what's your name and do you have an insurance card? There's a healthy medium. Well, now, I mean, what are we gonna be doing? Taking their temperatures when they show up?
Well, it's completely pointless because you can have this track and tracing. So you're going to go get tested. You can go up there, get tested. But it's such a contagious disease that
Yeah,
you could be fucking infected by the afternoon. And
that's,
you're given
yeah,
all clear on your badge. And it's like, no, you got infected on the way home, you fucking idiot.
yeah. No, I've thought that too, where it's so transmissible, the testing is irrelevant.
There's no point. Yeah, I can't. I mean, I thought America sounded like they were trying to get out.
We are.
England's embracing, and
No.
and people like I'm talking to people. A couple of people get it. Most people don't. It's like, guys, a lot of this stuff is not coming back. Hospitals, like that was the big controversy. I said, guys, if they're shutting your hospitals down, what makes you think they're coming back?
Well, see, and that's a good way to
And
put it. They're
they're like,
shutting
"Oh,
hospitals
cool,
down.
go
What
to
makes
America."
you think what makes you
It's
think
like
a
I
pub
read
is coming
articles
back?
Like Canada laying off doctors, England laying off doctors, America laying off doctors. Like, you're not able to spot a trend. You're just not able to spot. So how are they going to restart that program?
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing where even those doctors that got banned off of YouTube were saying, you know, when things do start back up, you're then going to have an explosion in all these fields of everything that's a byproduct of the lockdown, and people aren't going to be prepared because you were laying them all off.
Well, I thought your immune system was a contact system. Like, if you don't have contact and you live in a bubble, your immune system just dies.
Yeah.
So as soon as people go out,
Yeah,
literally
that's
infect
exactly
all
what he was
stuff,
yeah,
and
he
that's
made
gonna
that
be
point.
used as the figures to go, oh, look, all this hospitalization. We're gonna go. They're gonna spin it again.
Well, you know, it's the most irritating spin, and this point I brought up to Brett, and Brett was just astounded he had forgot all about this. I said, Brett, remember in January when we were seeing videos from China of people dropping in the streets?
Yeah, their blood coming out their eyes, arse. We heard all
Yeah.
of it. Yeah.
He was like, holy shit, I forgot all about that. I said, yeah, that's supposedly what's going around. Is that? I said, that's why I don't know what to believe about any of it. I said, but the crazier part is now that states are trying to open back up, whenever they are, you have the news do one of these as Georgia opens back up, the 1-day death toll reaches its highest ever. I said, and they're acting like these people, you know, they opened the doors at 8 a.m., someone went out at 10 a.m., contracted it at 11, and dropped dead by 3. I said, which is insane, because if these people, on the day they're opening back up, if you're reaching your highest death toll, then that's a death toll you earned during that lockdown. And now, because of all this lockdown, you know what the new thing they're trying to push in America is? Well, it's coming from families. It's coming from families. Your family is
Yep.
dangerous. We're going to have to
And domestic
remove your
abuse is going
family
up too.
members. I mean, I even saw a thing. God, who was it I saw this morning? Someone was going over the rules for reopening the schools. And in one of these schools, I mean, it sounds stricter than a prison. Like, in a prison, you're at least out in the yard and able to do whatever. And they're talking about kids being allowed to play in organized, separated manners. And then it's saying, like, they can't bring things back and forth to school, but then they can bring back and forth books in their lunch. And I mean, it contradicts each other, but it really just makes it like a cognitive dissonance tool for complete control. But it was saying
Well,
it's
that's what I'm seeing. Like, I mean, I work for a global brand bank, one of the biggest banks. One of the things I'm noticing is no one's paying attention. We're all going to be out of job. There's job layoffs everywhere. I'm out of a job September. And you think, well, if everyone's on lockdown, surely banking should be like the biggest thing at the moment. But it's not. They're talking about what they're going to do with their real estate portfolio, which means office space, because we don't have bank branches in the UK anymore. They're all going.
really.
And Yeah. That's we haven't had bank branches in a while. They've been going for a long time because they always buy really nice buildings,
Yeah.
really old buildings. So they've like all Lloyd's have given up all their high street branches, and the same with HSBC. And it's like, guys, the reason they're doing this is because I told you before, I'm not causing hysteria. The air business isn't coming back. This business isn't like blah 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 business isn't coming back. They know this.
Well,
And I
and
think
now
everyone's going to
even
be on UBI, and there's literally not going to be much transaction going on.
well
It's
now
literally going to
even
be your universal digital currency, and other than that, you don't need humans anymore because there is no car industry, there is no travel industry,
well
there is no restaurant industry, there is no pub industry. There is. No, it's like, guys,
you just had a thing where a whole bunch of the celebrities of all people came out and said, you know, this is how we should continue on because it's what's best for the planet, and you know, basically tried to bring it back to that, the agenda, you know, 2030 21 type nonsense.
but the other thing that's weird that I found, the Georgia Guidestones were erected in 1980, which is in the same date that all the countries did the lockdown. I think it's like the 24th of March or something like that. So if you do 20 years from when it was erected, that brings you to 2020. Sorry, 2000, the year 2000. So 20 years is 2000. And 20 years past that is 2020, where we are now. So you get that duality of the 2020, 20
Yeah.
years to the millennium, 20 years out. And it's the exact same day it's erected, and the whole point was to bring down world population.
Yeah.
And you can see Gates, he gets really excited whenever he talks about.
I was gonna say, yeah, I meant to bring that up earlier. Alex Jones did a whole thing on that last night, and I was so happy because I've been seeing that, and it drives me crazy because his body language says more than he could ever. Like when he's talking about depression and people getting hurt, he gets giddy. He starts smiling like a kid caught in a lie. But when he's talking about his, you know, vaccines and helping people, then he tries to act real somber and all this other stuff, and it's like it would at least make more sense if he tried to be sort of you know, jolly and jovial through the whole thing.
A lot of my friends that
but
even know me want the vaccine. They want to take it now. It's like, what are we vaccinating? Can you tell me? And this is,
Yeah.
I don't want to mention his name. He might listen. But he's really into science, man. Or he says he is. And I drive him nuts because he doesn't know. He
Well,
just
even-
throws buzzwords. He
even
doesn't
Michael
know.
Savage came out and said this disease already has 20 mutations, meaning a vaccine is irrelevant.
Well, it's not even that. I didn't think they've even isolated it.
No, they haven't.
So how are you going to get what?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. And that's why I say I don't know what to believe, because supposedly
And the
there's a
thing that
vaccine
uses the
patent
technology,
before
have you
this
seen that?
whole
It's called Luciferase or something. It's the gene that's in the, you know, the 060606 patent for the vaccine. It's got this technology called luciferase or something, where it gets your cells to merge with a machine, like a cybernetic
I heard
system.
someone talking about that, it
Yeah.
having some sort of nano
And it's called
attribute.
Lucifer something.
But see, that's the whole thing, is that it's like,
And for his Easter message, he brings on Marina Abramovich
yeah, that's ridiculous too.
on
But
Easter.
but
And all that was about was a ritual about how she's going to die and reform in this new AI system.
see, the
How
whole
she's looking
the
at
whole
her
thing
ghost.
is, it's like they say they
And
had
this
this
is after her spirit cooking session.
they have this vaccine, you
Popping.
know, patented and
Well,
everything,
why was he
and
living
then
with Jeffrey Epstein for?
that's off base even from all of this though. I mean,
Living with him.
there's so much on him personally,
When they
but
first asked him, it's just like, oh, they met once. What happened during that one meeting? It's like, oh, I can't remember. It's like, oh, now you've met 7 times. Oh, well, I don't want to talk about it. You were living with him? You and Gary around there?
but the whole thing with like them having this vaccine patent, which I don't know exactly how those work, but I would presume if they have the patent, they've isolated it, but then they haven't isolated it, they say. But then, like, I mean, that's why none of it adds up. None of it's consistent. And I'm just, you know, it's funny because when I was having that conversation with my mom, she said, So what? You don't think we should listen to any of the news? I said at this rate, yeah.
Yes.
I said you would be
Been
far
saying
better.
that since
I said
the
you'd be
9/11 report.
far better uninformed than misinformed, because at least uninformed you're going to rely on your common sense. Misinformed will have you doing some stupid shit that doesn't do anything, like
This is
social
off-
distancing.
I'm beyond that. I'm further down the rabbit hole. Like, this is a magic spell of all description. Like all magic spells and rituals, what's the first thing they make you wear?
Normally I would think a blindfold, but some
I
sort of
thought a
covering.
mask.
Yeah, a mask.
A ritual mask.
Yeah.
Well, why do you wear the ritual mask?
Yeah. I know.
Why?
It's,
Tell me why.
do you mean in this context or in the?
Just in a ritual. Like, why would you make someone wear a ritual as part of the ritual?
I don't know.
Well, it's to disassociate yourself so your face can't be like you take the face out of the equation, you take a lot of the you out of it, the me.
Well, yeah. There's the
You're taking a person with
dehumanizing.
disassociation, but then you kind of then feel
But
kind of
that's what all of this is. The social
a group
distancing.
likeness with the other people that are wearing the masks also.
I mean, did you see
How
the?
you start the cult? Put the mask on.
Did you
gotta
see
wear
the
a mask.
photo of the kids in school in China? And it was interesting when I saw the thing, like 2 minutes beforehand, Alex Jones said, this is dog training. And that's, what it all boils down to. It's all
How much
social
of your
engineering.
facial
But
is
these
communication?
these
You're walking
Chinese
down the road.
kids, these Chinese kids had like dowels from paper towel things on their heads so that they would know how much social distancing they were doing. And it looked like, play dog ears and stuff. Like, I mean,
why weren't we
that's the
telling
levels
people
of
to wear butt plugs
stupid.
during the AIDS epidemic?
Huh?
We should have been telling people to wear butt plugs during the AIDS epidemic.
Yeah, right?
So
Yeah.
they put a plug in their butt.
I mean, that's how, if it was nowadays, that in clown world, that's how the response would have been.
But
It really
in
would
LA,
have.
you can still legally give someone AIDS, right?
Speaking
you can still fuck
of-
someone and you've got AIDS, and that's fine. But you go out without a mask on.
Oh, in California, you don't even have to tell them anymore you have it. You can just give
Yeah.
it
You
to
can
them
give
and
it
be
on
like,
purpose.
surprise.
But
But that reminds me, I didn't realize, because remember when I had seen the Queen movie and I was saying how I thought it was weird, all of Freddie, like that gay
Queen,
aspect
have you not
of.
seen what's in the news today about Brian May?
No,
It's ripped his arse open.
that's.
Yeah,
Brian, who's Brian May?
the guitarist from Queen.
Oh, is he?
He ripped his arse open. He said he did it gardening during lockdown.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, he was dumpster pumping
Um,
way too hard. Yeah, if you stick Brian May in the news today, look what comes up. He's in hospital, mate, with fucking anal rip.
but I didn't realize like any sort of romantic thing with him was just sort of alluded to, and then it was like he just had AIDS out of nowhere, and but I didn't realize 20 minutes of the movie was cut open, or cut off. I'm reading this thing and I'm saying cut open. Edited out to be aired in China. That's why there was.
I don't care about that homosexual. Good.
How?
They should have not just fucked the whole film off.
Yeah, it was awful. I don't like Queen in the first place.
I went down that Beatles rabbit hole the other day, and it's pretty obvious.
What,
the
fake
Beatles
Paul?
are Tavistock.
Oh yeah,
I don't know how I fell for it.
yeah.
'Cause it's really simple. You can do it really simply because.
I mean, the
how
royalty
did they
has
write
their
that
hands
much
all over
material?
it, and yeah,
How much
there's.
material did they write in that time? And they had to do photo shoots. They had to do the traveling. They had to do the recording. They had to do the films.
They
had to
had
do the
they
music
had
videos.
handlers
the
all over
interviews.
them. They had
They
handlers
had to
all
hide
over
in
them.
hotel rooms, but they had all this time to then write all these songs, which are pretty good. And you look at the four of them; none of them have the capability to, because you obviously understand music enough. They're pretty well written songs. Like the songs, the note choices, the scale choices match what the theme is. There's a lot of thought going into it, how they build the tension, how they don't.
Yeah,
It's been done by a story, someone that can tell stories through music.
yeah. Well, and
then
some
you
of
hear
it
that
even.
they did have all these ghostwriters. They're not ghostwriters. They're like people that taught them how to write songs. It's like, you mean the ghostwriter?
Well, and that's the thing is like,
hey, hey, we're the Beatles. I'm surprised they didn't have that song.
well, and it's
Hey,
like
we're the Beatles.
if you
From the Monkey, the guy that wrote the Monkey song.
if you watch any of like the documentaries and stuff on them, especially the conspiracy ended ones, you see handlers all over them. You see the Queen has her symbols all over it. I mean, even the things like the stuff with the artwork and using mirrors and the whole Lewis Carroll aspects of the visual stuff, and it's like, yeah, it's way too out of their league. Like you can tell that there was a team behind the team, basically. Like, and a lot of it was like a psychological. Like I know people over attribute so much to John Lennon and even Paul McCartney. They think he's like a, just because I don't know, those were the two figureheads. But even at that, it is a astounding attention to detail for them to be doing, especially in, like you said, with the artwork and the movies and the albums and the touring and the photo shoots and especially in that day with the technology they had. Huh?
There's no way.
No, they were
Those songs
they
would
were
have taken
Tavistock.
a decade to write, just writing.
Well, and the fact that they were all
And yes, you had a team.
backwards shit.
Ugh. Fucking wizards.
Yeah. Well, didn't they even dress up as wizards in a handful of their
They were one where they
movies or
eating
something?
babies. They had Aleister Crowley on one of their things. They used to have Jimmy Savile open for them, I think. Don't quote me on that one though.
Yeah, Crowley's on the cover. That's the funeral for the real Paul.
That's what Alex Jones says is in his fault.
What?
Apparently, John Lennon got a bit bored. I'm probably not doing the story as Alex told it, but yeah, John Lennon's getting a bit bored of like the high society parties and all that, so he wanted a bit more, privacy as it was, and that's how he ended up in like the pretty ritualistic secret society groups, and it went way too far, way too quick, and he was like, I won't get out of this. So when he tried to get out, that's why they blew his brains everywhere.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, Alex Jones told me that after a couple of bottles of wine. That's what's in the fault. It's in the fault, in case anyone ever comes at me.
Which, according to him, is happening.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to jail, doesn't it? For something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds believable. I can see that happening.
I don't know. Because, the whole thing that's going on with Flynn. I mean, here's the thing is, part of me just wonders if these Democrats have just, like, is almost as if they're just going for broke and want riots. That's
I
what
think
I'm
they might
really
win,
thinking at
man.
this point.
I'm not just saying that to be a dick. I think they might win it this year.
I don't know.
How are you going to vote?
Huh?
Explain it to me. Explain how you're voting on October, on whenever it's November, October. How are you going to vote?
Well,
What's the plan?
see, but I don't understand your
No,
logic.
but hang on. How are you voting?
But my question though is, what's your logic with this? Because if there is no
Don't
voting,
answer a
Trump
question with a
stays.
question. I'll get to that in a minute. But how are you, honestly, how are you voting? I
Going
don't mean
to
how
the-
it's in Democrat or Republic.
No,
How are you
going
Where
to
are
the
you going?
polling place. Go
You
to the
reckon?
polling place, or yeah,
How? What, in a bubble?
they could just allow
do?
one
Wrap
person in
yourself in a
at one
bubble?
person in at a
Wrap yourself in
time.
bubble wrap, put a mask. How are you going to do that?
I don't understand. What do you mean, Howard? I mean, stores
Well,
are
we're all
open.
in
Paul, what
lockdown,
do you
aren't
think?
we?
No, what do you think is going on over
We're
here?
all in lockdown, Jamie.
I don't know what sort of lockdown you think we're having over here, but most places
One
are
where
open.
You can't go into a polling station, have people queuing up for a polling station, I'm guessing.
People are queuing up for everything else.
Yeah, but they're going to go, nah. Too dangerous. Way too dangerous.
But hold on,
How
follow.
will the elderly?
Okay,
they
so
can't
let's
let the
follow
elderly-
through with your
Jamie,
logic.
you're putting
They can't.
lives at risk.
But follow through your logic. They cancel
No,
the
you've gotta
election.
follow
There's
no,
Trump.
You've got to listen to the World Health Organization.
I don't. Okay, so we get to keep Trump. I don't understand how you're jumping from one to the other though. So they cancel the election. Trump's president. That's what. How do you think he goes then?
I reckon they might do something else, like might do some kind of postal system.
But then okay, so then we vote through the postal system. I'm
Yeah,
just
that's not bulletproof, is it? I just think it's going to be easily rigged. That's what I'm trying to say. I think this is just going to be a war. When it comes, Hillary is legend. Like, she's already legendary at this, Jamie. Legendary. She's one of the best. Like Hillary, you got to give her credit when it comes to rigging voting machines. She's your lady, and it's going to be a postal fucking vote. Of course, they're going to win.
I don't.
That's the whole point of this scenario of locking everyone down. That's one of the key points. Is to fuck the election.
I don't think, because here's the thing is,
You're not going to a polling station. I'm pretty sure on that.
I think your perception of how Americans will respond to this is off. Because here's the thing, I'll give it to you. I think if they can.
What do you mean? Like a lot of you guys are like us guys. You're like hiding at home.
No, Americans are. The traffic keeps increasing. Americans are done with the lockdown. We are not like Britain. Americans are fed up with it. I mean, I go outside and people have signs up in the backs of their trucks saying, "Cuomo, you're killing people. End this now." Like that's.
They're going to drag Michael out. They're going to if they get Joe Biden, if they get Hillary as vice president, and they go, "Oh, Joe Biden's fucking mental," which will be pretty apparent pretty quickly. Hillary's in. She's not that far away from the White House. She's closer than she's ever been.
Then why do they need mail-in? I mean, this is what I don't get.
It's so easy to rig.
But this is what I don't get. Like, I think if there was a ticket with Michelle Obama on it, they probably wouldn't need to rig it. Like, I really feel like you're adding extra steps into this, which are where I'm looking at and saying that's too much. It will backfire on them because it did last time. There's only so
backfire. Yeah, no, I can see it.
Now here's what I will say is I think if they really just let shit hit the fan as much as they seem to be trying to do, where it causes riots and depression and food shortages. But then if they pose as the saviors and blame it all on Trump, you don't need to worry about mail-in voting or canceling the election or any of that nonsense, because you've already created a situation that plays to your favor and can pose as the solution. But if they
can't rule out JFK and Trump as well, there's still plenty of opportunity for that.
Yeah.
I don't see how you're going to do rallies.
Well, and that could be it too, where they could try to kill Trump's momentum that way, because that's one of his bigger.
That's massively. That's the key way to get that. That is key, because if Trump was rallying without this, just be crushing.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying I don't think they need to take it as far as canceling the election or any of that.
I know you might not agree with this. I think Trump is going to lose enough support where it's a worrying number. A lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, I can't be fucked with Trump now," because, I mean, look at it. I mean,
well, yeah.
I wouldn't vote for Trump, to be honest with you, this time around.
If he goes along with this vaccine thing, I won't. That was one of his selling points last time.
I mean, how is Fauci still lurking around? And that witch woman?
Well, you know, some of that.
The task force is a joke.
Some of that is, I kind of think some of it is keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer.
Now, yeah, whatever, but I think you still got to admit he could lose 20% base.
Well, and actually, I think I saw something about they're slowly disbanding the task force, all of that.
I'm not saying people go as far as being anti-Trump, but it might just be like, I might bail on this vote.
I'm anti anyone that's mandatory vaccination. Sorry.
Yeah, I can see Trump promoting the vaccine a bit, you know?
See, and this is the thing, is again, and it's why I think the canceling the election thing is just way. I mean, that's far out there for me.
I'm not saying cancel it. I'm saying pull every trick in the book, and with this going on, it's going to be so much easier for them.
But I think the tricks don't even have to be concerning election day. That's what I'm getting at. Is like, again, you know, there's a lot of people, like, again, if Trump goes along with a mandatory vaccine thing, like, I'm pretty sure everyone I watch on YouTube, like, whether it's Slightly Offensive, people at the Blaze, Alex Jones and InfoWars, none of them are going to stand for that, and the Democrats will. So that again is a situation where he'll lose a good 20 to 25%, if not more,
I
of
always
his
wonder
base.
what the vaccine thing's really about, because if Bill Gates really wanted to do this, he could just do it in the food or do it like he did with the mosquitoes. Why would he just be so open, like this open about it? Like, is it really the only way you can do the fact whatever master plan is he wants to inject into us? It's the only way he can master it through an injection. Seems a bit not well thought out.
Might be the only way he can get away with it because of liability. Remember, vaccine manufacturers aren't liable for any problem. If everyone ate a box of Cheerios, the next thing you know... I see your point, though. You know, a mosquito would kind of be an untrackable thing, but I think the vaccine...
You would have thought he should have,
because that way, at least, you can document who's had it and who doesn't. Who, Gates?
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
He ain't going to be able to go out in public for a while, is he? Come on, let's be honest.
No, he's catching a lot of flack right now.
Like, what sort of security personnel is he going to need to
Mossad.
do his next TED talk?
Mossad is my guess.
I don't know. I think they'll probably bail on that one. I'm not like. Well, I was talking yesterday. Like everyone's going, "Oh, I can't wait for the football. Can't wait for the football." Because that's what it's like in England. It's like the whole world shut down. Oh, I just can't wait for the football. It's like football's not coming back. Like, what do you mean, conspiracy theorist? It's like, okay, so I've got 100 football players. Let's say 10. Like, you know the drill with football. It's the same as any ritual. The footballer gets the energy from the crowd. He then gives the energy back to the crowd, which wiles the crowd up even more. He then takes that energy, and magic happens on the pitch, and you get magical moments. No kid aspires to play on live stream. Room. So I'm not saying all footballers are going to drop out. I'm saying 10% will. Yeah, but I don't want to. No, I'll play in front of the crowd, man.
Yeah.
So there's no crowd. I'm not playing.
Well, and even that was the whole thing with that.
They'll probably be the players that can afford to say that, if you get what I mean. They're already loaded.
See, I think, you know, I have, and it might seem kind of contradictory, but Americans for the most part are done with this. Like, they've realized it's not as lethal as made out to be and everything like that. So the majority of them are done with this. That being said, the politicians are definitely not. You know, you look at that woman in Texas, she was in jail for a week just for trying to go to work, and she works for herself and has a family to feed. So she tried to open her shop, and now it was a judge that's friends with Obama that was like, you were endangering people and you should apologize and you disrespected everyone and this and that. Well, the governor issued an executive order, and he even said, it's ridiculous we're letting criminals out because we don't want them to be infected, and taking their place is hardworking business owners just trying to feed their family. Like, so the governor issued an executive order. The judge didn't even put it into motion right away. Like, he stalled on it because he was still just on his high horse. So that being said, like, I you know, the populace, I think, is done with it. The power structure is definitely not, and at some point you're going to end up with a conflict where Americans are going to take back their country, basically. And I mean, I hope it's an easy battle where we just go back to work and one side, you know, decides, all right, this isn't flying anymore. But, you know, that's where I also have my thing of round 2 is going to be something where it's going to be like those videos from China. And that's when they will scare everyone back into their houses, and people will say, I'm not coming out. And there's a vaccine for that shit that makes you bleed out of your eyes.
Well, going back to football, how many like do you think like 10% will just be like, no, I'm not going to play in front of an empty stadium?
Yeah,
Is that a reasonable number? 10 out of 100.
yeah,
So out of that, then you're going to have another 10 out of 100, which are going to be full on buying the narrative. And if they are buying a narrative, why would they risk their health playing football?
yeah,
They wouldn't. So you're going to lose another 10. And that's mutually exclusive ideas. So that means you've lost 20%. The other ones aren't mutually exclusive, so they will be in and out of the ones which are already excluded. So when I say 10%, I probably mean about 7, because I've already counted for some of them. But some of them will think, like me, that this is a conspiracy theory. This is leading to an episode of Black Mirror. And they'll be like, I just don't want to promote that. So I'm out.
yeah.
Some people will just be like confused. I think 15% will be confused because everyone's doing different things. And they'll be like, do you know what? I'm just going to wait it out for a year. Just going to wait it out. So that's going to be gone. The other thing with football that people aren't getting is if you don't have ticket sales and it's live streaming, that means they're going to put diversity into football. And what I mean by diversity in football is you're going to have to pay subscription to watch it, and women are going to get equal time now. Yeah, which means football salaries will be made up differently. It will be equal. And women's football is shit. There's
Yeah.
no other word to describe it.
I did
It's
see
shit.
the American women's team that was suing because they weren't getting equal pay. The judge dismissed their suit.
Yeah, but that's because we put England women up against their teenagers.
Mhm.
They're like 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, not even like 13. And they won.
Yeah.
The kids won. So when people are like, oh, you're being so sexist, Paul, it's like, don't you understand? When you pay subscription, you've got diversity in football. You're gonna now. That's how you get the equal pay. Because they're both getting equal airtime now.
I just want to add in, even though it may seem like a
Hang on, one more
side
point on the football. Hang on, let me finish on the football. How many of our footballers are not British in the Premier League?
That I don't.
Nearly all of them, like all the superstars, none of them are British. So after this lockdown experience, do you think they're going to risk being locked down in England again? When nothing's open, it's not like it's a better country now.
Yeah.
You've got all these freedoms, all this stuff you can do. Can't do shit.
Yeah, that's true.
How many of them are just going to go back to Brazil? How many are going to go back to Italy? How many are going to go back to Portugal?
And Brazil is freer than isn't that where Bolsonaro or wherever is? There's one guy who's in South America who for a while they were saying he's like that country's Trump. Owen Benjamin was shouting him out for a while. I forget his name.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
Yeah, but I'm sure that country is probably freer than England or America at this rate.
I think you're going to see the same in the NBA, exactly the same thing. A lot of the big players that don't need the paycheck would be like, if the crowd's not there, I'm not there.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because the whole point of playing, like, it's going to be like playing for that team you always wanted to play for. And it's because of the crowd.
According to the narrative, I'm vaping for my health right now because I've seen articles saying that nicotine protects the lungs from COVID.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of articles there in my time. Well, England's not looking good. I think we're going in deeper than any other country.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's how it seems. The past couple days, I was glad we were able to catch up today because that's the impression I've been getting. Is that
Well, I'm speaking to people all the time, and like, people jump out their skin because I'm not doing the social distancing thing. And people like jump when you get in, like, oh, no, the corona.
yeah,
And I think the social distancing is surveillance. It's getting ready for surveillance.
Well, did you see the fucking thing they had with the
I don't think the
Clintons
surveillance
and
works so well if everyone's bunched up together. I mean, it's just seeing what training will do to get food, because that's my biggest fear. I think food shortages is going to be a thing in 20 days. Not like massive, or in the third world it'll be massively evident, but over here I think we'll start seeing it. Because restaurants aren't getting the food. I think it's going to get difficult to get meat. I think meat's going to get hit hard.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you said, it's the Green Flu deal. Everything you put into the Green Deal is going to be coming out of this. It's almost like that thing they had in the 80s, that, well, worse in the 80s, War of the World.
Cutting out. I had this article open so that Dave could.
And that's
Get
the
out.
other thing we're getting in the news a lot. It's not COVID, it's aliens. We're being prepared for the alien invasion.
You know, it's interesting.
That you could replace War of the Worlds with the COVID, right?
Pretty much.
And all that predictive program, there's that other program that came out in like 2003 where they had to lock down the school. Did you see that one? Because of the coronavirus that came out of a Chinese lab. Have you seen that?
I know it was on
And the
Netflix.
cops
I
in the
didn't bother
schools.
watching it.
Oh, it's really, man, you got to see that one. That one was insane to me. The amount of stuff they predicted was insanity.
You know what's interesting is I watched Alex Jones was showing a clip of The Simpsons, and he was trying to explain why it is that The Simpsons has so much predictive programming, and his reasoning for it, which I thought was interesting, is he says The Simpsons is like the longest running show of all time, or one of them, and he said, and it's basically the writers making the point that they know that there is a set of writers above the top TV shows, that there are writers for the world narrative, stuff like that. So I don't
Well,
know.
wasn't that on
I'd
Epstein's plane? He used to get the foot massage, didn't he, on Epstein's plane? Don't you remember that?
Who?
They're in the Epstein report, and the testimonials or whatever witnesses, they were saying that Matt Gorin was on the plane getting a foot massage. That woman had to give him a foot massage, and he had really horrible feet. Remember?
I don't know who that is.
Matt Gorin.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
He's the guy that's the creator of The Simpsons.
Oh, well, yeah, that doesn't surprise. Well, I was just, my next point was going to be is, even if some of the writers were doing it to make that point, I would more likely believe that there was someone amongst their ranks that was part of that class.
Yeah,
anyway,
if you look at the thing that came out in 2003 compared to The Simpsons, the predictive programming was exact. It was scary, like it came from a bat, and it was like SARS-like, and it caused a lung infection, and they had to like quarantine. It was a coronavirus.
Crazy that you could sit
And
around
they
and
even
just.
put in that drug, you know, that malaria drug. It's like, maybe we could try this malaria drug, and it's the same one. And it's
Yeah.
Like, what?
I mean, it's
Oh,
it's
man.
crazy to think that you could sit around and binge on The Simpsons and essentially be studying the future like it's a crystal ball or something. But they have predicted so much stuff that it's, I mean, it's all there. To a creepy level sometimes.
Yeah, well, I can't get a passport either, so I can't even get out.
That's crazy.
The
That-
weirdest experience I had was these guys have opened up, like the only thing open, these immigrants opened up, like just like gardening stuff, like pots and plants. It's like a brick and brack store.
Yeah.
And I was talking to them, going, "Oh, so you're not buying a coronavirus then?" And they were like, "No, it's dangerous, it's scary, it's dangerous." And I was like, "Well, then maybe you shouldn't fucking be open then," because they weren't really needing
Yeah, right.
masks or gloves. It's like, "Oh, so if you believe it and you're the only ones that are open on the road," I was like, "Oh, finally," because if you open, other people think, "Oh yeah, fuck it, we'll open." He was like, "No, I actually think it's dangerous. Gotta be careful, man." And it's like,
Well, see,
wow.
and that was the point I was trying to make to my mom, is I was like, I said, this whole thing, I said, this social distancing and these masks, I said, all right, let's just say it works. I said, well, when this thing started, before you had to wear a mask to go into places, everyone was going to the supermarket. I said, so regardless of when you put the mask on, I mean, here's the thing. What if you're driving in your car, you cough into your hand, then you put your mask on, you go into the grocery store, start touching produce, everyone else goes into, you see, I mean, it just doesn't, there's no science behind this social distancing thing. And the fact that people buy into that and are like, this is absurd, like,
No, it's because people. It's like it's the social shaming they're scared of.
yeah. Well, and that's what I told my mom. I said, listen, I don't want this to come across the wrong way. I said, but women
If you
all
got-
throughout history have had a go along to get along mentality. I said, and that's really where I'm starting to think you're coming from. It's just, let me just do this because I'll be safe if I'm acting like how everyone else acts.
Have you got a mask?
No,
Have you worn one yet?
I did for like 5 minutes yesterday to run into a store where I needed it.
No way.
And it's funny because I had it around my neck afterwards, and I came into my job, and my boss was like, "Why do you have that?" And I'm like, "Oh, I ran into the pharmacy." I said, so I threw it on for a sec. But like, yeah,
Dr. Star.
I mean, even her, like,
Dr. Damien.
she tells people when they come into the restaurant, if you don't
I'm
want to
surprised
wear it,
didn't
you
give
don't
anyone
have to.
CPR.
That would be interesting. Yeah, I wonder, like, how are restaurants gonna operate? You obviously can't wear a mask while you're eating.
Oh, I've seen it. You're going to be in greenhouses, and they're going to put all your food on this really long kind of like tray, which
Like
is
a
like
prison.
half a meter,
Like a
like half a
prison,
meter
where you
tray,
get passed
and they
through.
just poke it through.
Yeah, like a prison.
And yeah, and they have like the beehive. It's like perplex glass face mask thing. I'd rather just stay in.
Yeah. Well, and that's even the thing. Like, I was thinking about it yesterday at the pharmacy where I said the pharmacist has on a mask. They are also behind a plexiglass, passing things through again like a prison. And then I'm wearing a facial mask. I said, one of those things at least is excessive. Like, even if we are believing all of this, like, either they have the plexiglass, so I shouldn't need a mask and they shouldn't. Either we should just wear masks and there's no need for the plexi. Like,
The other thing is, it's because salaries are so shit in the UK. A lot of people don't want their jobs because the benefit, because you get a little bit
I've
more
I've been
because
hearing
of the
that.
corona. Yeah, like a
But
lot
people
of the
just don't
jobs
wanna
is
go
gonna
back
be the
to
same.
work.
You're going to be getting about the same because by the time you don't get taxed, you don't pay council tax because you won't get taxed on benefit. You won't have to pay council tax. You won't have your expenses of travelling to work. It's going to equal about the same. So how are you going to get the workforce back? And people don't understand where the money's coming from. No one's like, oh, well, where's the money coming from? It's like, well, the people like me, like I'm thinking now, like I'm working from home. I'm not doing shit, Jamie. I don't care anymore. Because if I do I'm going to lose my job anyway in September.
Now, why do you know that?
I'm not doing shit, man. I even got busted. That's how much I'm taking a piss. My boss wrote me an email on Wednesday, like Thursday, and he was like, "Oh, I've noticed you've not been about much." And I wasn't even home when he said it. So he said, "I can see you're not even on the live chat." So I just replied and going, "Oh yeah, I went out and enjoying the sunshine." Because it's so quiet. There's nothing going on at the moment, and I got in early, so I'm not actually bunking. Like I did come in, I did start come in. Like what language am I using? I woke up earlier and started earlier. That is true, but there was no work, and I did that because it was such a sunny day, and we're not getting much sun.
Yeah.
So I just wanted that extra 2 hours sun. And then he was all right with it because he was going, "Oh, that's fine then." And like I spoke to him about it because we get on really well. And I was like, "Oh, how come you're all right with it?" And he was going, "Oh, because you told the truth. Just because you're honest. You just said you were bunking." So I was like, "Oh, cool." And then you're right. Like you're not really bunking because you have done the hours. So I had respect for you for just saying, "Oh, I went out and sat in the park in the sun." Because most people would just say, "Oh, internet down or my laptop wouldn't connect
Yeah.
to the I had this problem and I had to call help desk." I was like, "I was in the sunshine." Just for an extra hour because I really need it. I'm sick of this blue screen. I'm sick of the lockdown,
Yeah.
and I'm doing this like you're promoting this mental health stuff. I nearly threw the laptop out of a window, man. Fuck.
Yeah.
And you did say, like before, like he's managed to save my job, and I've got to wait for my new like process. You get like process maps, and he said you're not going to get it till the morning. Anyway, so at 2 in the afternoon, I was like, well, I'm not going to get even a process map till the morning. So I did start at 7:30, so I may as well finish. They've even cut our hours. That's the other thing, it being close. People that are working have an hours cut. So you add that to the equation of what that you may as well be on benefit then.
Yeah.
Because my hours got cut this week, and I work for a global.
How do you
brand.
know you're getting let go in September?
Because it's just contract work,
Oh.
and then I've got a female boss. She's really nice actually. She went. It's one of those meetings where she wasn't allowed to say that she wasn't keeping us on, but it's what she didn't say, which just gave it away.
Mhm.
And I spoke to Steve Byrne. It's like, oh yeah, there's no point putting it. Like everyone fell for it, but me, because she was saying, oh, well, if there are redundancies, we'll let you know well in advance and all this kind of stuff. It's that kind of language.
Yeah.
If there are redundancies, this will happen. There's nothing like, oh, we're doing this to say. There's no discussion of how they're keeping jobs, what jobs are being made. I don't see how we're going to return to an office with social distancing. I don't see how they're going to justify it. Because a lot of the top managers, if you go into a bank or you work in any global brand, to be able to work from home has been a thing that's been a trend for 5 years now,
Yeah.
6 years. So they've already been moving towards this for a very long time. So I think a lot of staff are just going to get cut. They don't need them anyway.
Yeah.
Let's face it, a lot of jobs are fake. When you work in an office, like they don't really do much.
Yeah.
And people just can't see it. And people call me a conspiracy theorist. Like people I work with every day, like, oh, you're such a conspiracy theorist. It was only like a couple of months ago you were telling me a conspiracy theorist saying there's going to be lockdown.
Well,
You didn't
see,
believe it.
and you
didn't
know
believe
what?
it.
That was the thing when I was running the errands with my mom, and she said, "James, why?" Because the point I made is, I said, and this whole essential, non-essential
Lockdowns
thing.
were a conspiracy
I said,
theory
who?
not long ago. Oh, it came
Yeah.
from a lab. That was
Well,
a conspiracy theory not long ago.
Well, and I said, who's the one deciding who's essential and non-essential? I said, because all it's basically telling you is some people are not needed. I said that
But
is
they're
the
for an abortion.
yeah. I said that's the underlying premise that some of these things are excessive. We can go without. We can do without. I said that's the whole thing between essential and non-essential. I said because to everyone, their job is essential to them. I said, but now someone else is getting to decide that. And she goes, James, why do you always have to take things to the furthest, most extreme point? I said, do you want to know why? I said, because at this time last year, I would have thought the most furthest out there extreme conspiracy theories that I couldn't even see how they would implement, we are now 80% of the way through. Like they are
We
talking.
always knew this was coming, but
Yeah.
we never knew the catalyst would be.
Yeah, and it's like now they're talking removing cash.
But so honestly, if you
all
go
this
back
other
to our
stuff.
New Year's Eve show, we were talking about maybe they would use weather engineering to create a giant storm which wouldn't go away, or we were talking about that they're going to create some kind of natural disaster. Like
Yeah.
they'd shut the grid off somehow.
Yeah, we were saying there would have to be
But
a
it'd be
huge
engineered,
event.
They would have caused it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we should have come up with fires because fires makes way more sense.
But yeah, and that's the thing is, I mean, the things that I was always like, how the hell would they do that? Like remove cash, chip everyone, this and that.
Well, the thing
and
was
this.
the alien invasion, the fake alien invasion. This is an alien invasion. A virus is an
Yeah.
alien. We've all got to get together and do the same actions. Unite, mankind unite.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And then you've got the race baiting going on because that black jogger got shot.
Yeah,
Even some
you
of
know
my black
that's
friends are giving me shit about that because they're sharing the Snoop Dogg meme, and it's got a meme of the cops laughing, going, "Yeah, we shot another nigger." It's like that shows there can't be racism in America. They're like, "How dare you, Paul? How dare you?" It's like that is really if that's the best example you've got of systematic racism in America,
Yeah.
you're in a great place.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, you're glad he's dead." It's like, no, that was a terrible situation of a guy that used to be a cop that was overzealous. The black guy shouldn't have gotten a fight with people with guns. That doesn't mean he deserves to be shot, but lots of things have gone wrong there. None
Yeah.
of them have anything to do with race. And if it's systematically racist, why are you guys what are you marching for? They're in jail, aren't they? They're going to jail, aren't they?
Yeah. That's
We want justice, no peace. What do you mean?
well,
They're
and
cops,
see, and that's always
and the
been my
cops arrested them.
that's always been my criticism of the whole thing
What are you
is none of
marching
it
for?
makes sense where there's a lot of circular logic and then things get super
Because
vague.
you can blame Whitey. Just about. You can just
Yeah.
about blame Whitey for this.
Well, that and
they
that's how
jumped on
vague it is. Like, and when the whole, was it AIU has
I
the
thought
the
we-
shirt
I
where
thought
it's
we
like,
were done with the Snoop Dogg thing 2012.
right? Yeah, it's back
I
to
honestly
the
thought that.
systemic systems of systematic
Who
oppression
brought
and
this guy back in the equation?
well, that's what they're and see. Here's the thing: is I
What has Snoop Dogg done that's good for the black community? Remind me.
yeah right.
How
Yeah.
many bikes has he returned? to the
Wasn't
white
he?
community?
He was tried for murder. Like
They brought that up.
he killed a black person. Like why is he the one to be like? But no, you know what I think it is I think it's priming the pump for Michelle Obama. I remember race war was Obama's fucking MO, so I think it's priming the pump for that Michelle
Where are the
Obama.
riots when a 6-year-old black kid, like a cute little girl, gets caught up in a drive-by? Where were they? Where were the marchers? I didn't see them.
Well, and you know what the crazier part is honestly, from what we were told about the Trump presidency coming in, that there were going to
That
be,
might be the
hate
reason
crimes
it's such a-
rampant.
I wonder
We're
if
4
that's
years
one of the
into this.
only white on black murders that's probably happened in months.
I wonder years because that's what the point I'm making is they were saying going into this that if Donald Trump got elected that it would just be a free for all, like that black men would be getting gunned down in the streets, even though they were saying that was already happening, but they were saying it was going to go like exponential, and it's like, wow, we're now 4 years into this and this is the first one that happened.
If they were
Damn, we're in
KKK
good
looking
shape.
for a black dude to shoot, why did they film it?
Yeah. You know what's really funny? Did you hear about the guy in California? Speaking of the KKK?
But the last thing I want to say, now what they're doing is, even though what happened to that black dude was horrific, you're asking me in a way to come up for a defense for the white guy, because I've got to think this is why it proves it wasn't about race. It was a shitty situation. Let's say it was you and me on that truck, and we did get the wrong black dude, because there was it is believable a black dude was robbing stuff. Okay, they got the wrong one. But as you approached him with your gun, he did actually attack you, and it's your son. Of course of course the dad's going to shoot him.
Yeah.
And I think he fired a warning shot first. And the fight continued, and he shot him.
Well, what's the saying?
Like, so much has gone wrong.
Death
Way
makes
too-
angels out of all of us. That's unfortunately the MO they
And
operate
that's why
under.
they're not in jail, because again in America, I think you've either got to get a manslaughter or a murder. You can't go for the murder, lose the murder, and get manslaughter. So there's probably lots of to and fro about getting the right, because you do want to get them in jail. Don't get me. And if it's so racist, who's supporting the white people asking for them to be released?
Yeah.
I haven't who's
Yeah.
that crazy? Where are they?
Well,
We
see,
all want to see these guys in jail.
and that's always the other thing is it's like no one ever takes the pro murder side, but people always take the side of like, well, it's not like someone was
Where's the
just
Facebook
playing
fan
hopscotch.
page? Where's the support
and-
page for the
Yeah.
shooters?
yeah.
Where is it?
I mean,
Where's the GoFundMe for the lawyer?
yeah, and see, and that's the crazier part. It
Maybe
really
that's
shows
what
the
we should do,
detachment,
Jamie, for a joke. We should set up a GoFundMe.
right? Oh man, I guarantee you,
Okay,
we'd
look
make
at these
headlines.
racists.
We'd be in the news in minutes if we did something like that. And that just makes
Why
the
don't we
point
do it
though.
then?
We should. It would be good publicity. But that's the thing. Even look at the whole like Trayvon Martin thing that sparked all this way back
Jamie,
when.
not only that, we'd have to ask for so much money to get. And I don't know what sort of oil we're gonna have to get. It's gonna cost a lot.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is we then would have to give it to that. Otherwise, we
And
could
then
be
we
brought up
need
on fraud
lawyers.
charges.
For all the.
But the thing
That
is
we're gonna get.
even look at like the Trayvon Martin thing that sparked this trend of this being the public reaction and all that. No one was pro George Zimmerman. Like you either had this view that Trayvon Martin was an innocent angel baby that was gunned down by an evil
I don't
racist
think it
Mexican
happened,
Jew.
man. I think
I
that
don't
story is
either. I
fake.
don't either. But I'm still just talking about the narrative. But then the people that were like on the opposite side of that, they were the ones saying like this was a shitty situation with two flawed people that went really out of hand. Like no one was pro George
And
Zimmerman.
none of them were white.
Yeah, exactly. But people
This is white power in America.
Yeah.
But none of them were white.
like a Hispanic guy with a
No
Jewish
white
last
people played any
name.
part in the story.
Yeah, that was that, and that's when that's your
That's
jumping
what
off
everyone's-
point. Like
The other one was the kid who got a rough ride. This shows racism. There were no white people anywhere in the story.
yeah. Well, and that's even you had it in Brooklyn where there was like a black Hebrew Israelite that attacked like a Jewish guy, and it's like they were calling that racism, and it's like technically that's two people that both claim they're Jewish, and like the one's black and the other one's white, but yet you're saying this is white supremacy being anti-Semitic? Like, how does that make any sense whatsoever? But
White people in England are too scared to even have a disagreement with a black person, let alone shoot them. You're not going to hear the end of it if you just have a disagreement.
yeah, there's a handful of people around here, but it's kind of all leftist. So as long as you're not in those circles, you don't really have to worry about it. It's really troubling that I heard lately.
I know what's troubling. The idea of that I've got any future. My future is either a FEMA camp. I might get shot. Might just get lined up and shot. That's on the cards now. What else could happen to me? So I'm not taking a vaccine, guys.
Yeah. I know, and what's
And like,
interesting is
like,
how I
need-
brought up my boss, and you were saying, she's gonna have to take it, and she's even saying she's thinking of moving now. She's like, I think I might have to move out of New York. That this is crazy.
Where are you gonna go?
I don't know. I mean, it's part of the thing is it's again under Trump. We might be all right because he's letting the states kind of handle these things a lot. I mean, New York, if
But
it's
yeah,
if it's
not
up
a
to the
federalist,
states,
You're right. Yeah, that's one thing. Trump's right. It's a state issue all the way.
yeah. So I mean, as long as he's in that position, I think we have a slim chance. But I know New York, New York will definitely say it's needed to do anything.
Well, at least it's got rid of the World Health Organization.
Yeah.
England needs to follow that. And whilst we're all in lockdown, we've got 100,000 people flying into the UK. We don't
I
do
saw
any
that.
checks. We're the only country that doesn't do any checks.
I saw that. Your country has been on a suicide mission for a while. You guys are a jihadi. Like, you really
I
are.
remember I told my mum I wanted to flee and she begged me not to go. I was like, Mum, I don't know what the catalyst is, but it's over here. Come on. And she's like, oh, it will be all right when Brexit happens. Like, Mum, Brexit's not happening. Oh, just wait, it will. Mum, it's been 3 years. What are you
Well, and the other thing
what are
too
you
is
talking about?
when you have situations
Oh,
like
but
this, it doesn't
BBC,
matter
they
because
say-
they're all acting in
Yeah.
unison anyway.
Because now everyone knows about Labour, they'll vote Conservative. It's like, ugh. Boris will get it done. Oh, God, it just gets more stupid.
Well, and what I was just saying is, when all the countries are acting in unison over big issues like this, what does it matter if you're in the EU or not? You know,
I still haven't had the last thing I said to my dad was he called me a conspiracy theorist. I said that there would be a lockdown. So if there is, which there won't be, it will just be for 2 weeks. Wasn't. I said all businesses would shut down and all go bankrupt, and the government would have to step in, and they would own the business and tell you whether you'd have the right to work. There'd be travel restrictions. You'd have a tracking and tracing system. This is going to come out that this is a biological weapon that came out of Wuhan. Oh, well, that theory is more dangerous than the virus itself. I was like, okay, if you think that my
how?
ideas are more dangerous than a virus,
Yeah,
I don't think
right.
we should be talking anymore.
Yeah,
How could I put you at that risk?
yeah, that's insane. But that's the rhetoric that's been drilled into people, and
That's
it's
from my own dad.
yeah, that's demoralizing, to say the least.
And now he cares so much, he's isolated in a great house. I'm in the middle of a city. So all this stuff I had for like my whole life, but oh, we're in this together, we're in this. No, we're not. So yeah, I think my family's destroyed, man.
Yeah, I think, and you
I
know,
think it really has shown who people are in Christ. It definitely does.
yeah, I really, I really, at this point, I think
A
that's
lot of my
the
friends
target
won't go
of
out. You
it.
go, hey, dude, you coming out? What about the corona? It's like, get the fuck out. Fuck you.
Well, that's why I like. Did you see any of the clips of Elon Musk on Joe Rogan?
Yeah, the
Wh-
actor, yeah. Even
Where
he looks freaked out.
who Rogan?
Rogan, I fucking can't stand that little dumpster because each time Elon goes, well, the brain chip, Joe's like, oh yeah, and it's like, how dangerous is it, Elon? And he's like, well, I wouldn't put it myself. He's like, tell him more. When do we upload it? When do we start testing on humans?
Well, and see, and I like though at least Elon, like you can see his apprehension when he's talking about the data processing and humans and AI and all that, and even when he said with the brain chip thing, like we're gonna be using this for people with brain injuries way before it's any sort of
Yeah, but
going
they
to
said
normal
that for
people,
MK
but
Ultra. That's exactly how
yeah,
they started MK Ultra.
but
No, we're just doing it with people who have mental health problems to make them better. They always start off this technology of trying to help people that
yeah.
are disadvantaged, and then it becomes for everybody.
But the thing with him that I was referring to is his response to the coronavirus thing, where he's just basically like, "This is not like this. None of this makes sense." Like, and Rogan, like, I don't know. There was some points with him, like when he tried saying, "Oh, CNN is a good source of news," and it's like sometimes you just look at shit like you don't know if he's playing devil's advocate or if maybe he needs one of those
Yeah, but
brain
you know,
chips.
I used to be
Like,
a big fan of Joe Rogan. Now I haven't watched it in about. Other than that, I've watched maybe 4 podcasts of his in the last 15 months.
yeah.
I used to watch all of them, man.
Yeah, it really depends with me who's on it. Like,
I think Alex Jones told the truth about what happened to Joe Rogan. I think it's really obvious what's happened.
I think nowadays it really is when he's out there saying CNN is a good source of
It's
news
that
and all this other stuff.
Who's that Audrey Huxbury guy? He's the handler. That guy is dodgy as fuck.
The guy who owns on it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because he's running DMT retreat, a cult out in Hollywood. And whether how liberal you are, that's illegal, guys. So the only way he's getting away with that is DMT retreat. Is his the DMT is our generation's LSD.
Well, and
And Joe Rogan's trying to be Timothy Leary or whatever.
the only
CIA
way
agent was
you could,
pushing out.
well, yeah, it's like a Silicon Valley, Laurel Canyon type thing. And instead of it being the Beatles, it's Joe Rogan for the podcast generation.
And I think Joe Rogan was calling. I think Alex Jones is telling the truth. Now, inadvertently, Joe Rogan's got involved with a CIA drug cult, which has happened. Also, how come Joe's not in jail for that money problem he had with the Cash App?
I don't know. about that.
Well, when he was promoting Cash App, wasn't he? When he was a shareholder on his show, he had Jack Dorsey on promoting. That was illegal, wasn't it? Because he
I
didn't say that he was promoting something that he profits from. When we had Jack Dorsey on, and they were saying how great Cash App is for buying Bitcoin and Bitcoin, and butt pumping.
but I hold
Joe
on.
Rogan's the biggest shareholder of Cash App, so he should have been done for. I don't know. You got some kind of trading law where you're not allowed to do that. And then
I don't think it's that simple though, because I mean, what you're basically saying is people can't promote their own businesses. Like what?
No, not unless you tell them that's what you're doing. That you're being paid for this sponsor.
Maybe I don't know. Like
You've got to do that on YouTube. Yeah, you've got to say this is a paid sponsored. So if you do a review and you don't pay for the product, you've got to say that.
Oh, I don't know.
If Joe Rogan has Jack Dorsey on saying how great Cash App is, and you don't say that you're a shareholder in Cash App, yeah, you're in trouble.
I don't know. I feel like if that was the case, you'd be hearing those disclosures
Yeah,
all
we'll
the
just
time.
do that. I'm probably not explaining it well, but Joe Rogan landed in a lot of trouble over that. And according to Alex Jones, that's when not only did he have those threats on him, he had a proper life threat on his family.
I mean, that doesn't
And Joe
surprise
Rogan
me.
was just like, okay, fair enough. I'll be as close to play to the ball as I can.
I was going to say, as far as the DMT thing,
'Cause you
I'm
can
sure.
see the change in Joe Rogan. You can see.
Well,
it
yeah,
happening.
that
That's
you
when
can.
Alex said it happened. And you can see the build up to it. The timeline Alex gives does fit as you watch it. As Joe Rogan changes into someone who looks really nervous.
Yeah. I was going to say, as far as the DMT thing, though, like you could probably, the way they're probably making it legal is, using guise of religious freedom, spirituality, and all that, which then, yeah, puts it into the category of a cult.
And who runs cults?
I mean, I don't think any sort of religious or spiritual thing should be based on a substance. Like, that's.
No, but all cults are CIA, because Joe Rogan just had someone on the other week where they were talking about how it's obvious Charles Manson cult was the CIA. It's like, well then.
Well, yeah, there's a new book out about that.
Yeah.
It was probably the author of the book.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That's one I'd like to check out. That was. So, and that's.
Yeah, you should check that one out, because then you start thinking, well, aren't we watching the same thing with Joe?
Yeah.
Not to the same extreme, obviously, as Charles Manson, but.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing, though, is like, since the 60s, the 60s is when they were working on MK Ultra on a individualized one-on-one basis, and now they have taken it out and made it so it can be applied generally to the masses. So it would be the same thing. It's just they've, instead of having to handle someone one-on-one, they have found a way to do it to everyone all at once.
Yeah, I also saw Joe Rogan being quite negative towards guns again on a recent one.
Yeah.
Just a clip.
And it's weird, like, sometimes it's, again, I don't know.
What? Anyone can own a car? That's insane.
It makes you wonder, like, if he's playing devil's advocate, or sometimes if he's just mirroring people to sort of go along with them, or.
He's so, like, into technology. There's no questions. It's not the sort of question you'd expect from Joe Rogan over this kind of technology.
Yeah.
He just seems to be coming in his pants each time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He seems like a kid that's about to open Christmas presents.
Going to line up for it. Just tell me when you've experimented on enough people, then they don't die, and it's like 1 in a million death. It's just like, you're so into it. Fucking, let's use your fucking skull.
Yeah.
I'd watch that podcast if someone drills a hole into Rogan's skull and plugs it into a flipping Nintendo or whatever.
Well, see, and that's the thing with, like, Elon Musk, is it's like, there's some things about him that,
There's no way he got a car into space.
Yeah, I don't buy that for a second.
I reckon but between us, we could beat him in most debates about space.
Yeah.
Not beat him in a debate, but make him look like he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Well, see, and that's the thing is, with Elon Musk, it's interesting with him where and this is going to sound really weird because on some levels he's a genius, but I think he's almost like that educated expert genius where he's really smart in a handful of very specific ways. And then there are people above it. Like, here's the whole thing is all he's got to do is, I mean, I'm sure, you know, like there's fucking the way the government controls airspace and all of that shit and everything else where, you know, you could have had it where they could have took his little car, fucking blasted it up into the sky, had it land in an ocean, and then just showed him some video feed that Disney concocted. And we were like, yeah, here's the feed from your fucking car, you moron. Like, isn't it wonderful? Like, you know, you could have had someone from NASA just overseeing it and feeding him fake data from space because it's not like
quote, you could tell it's real because it looks so fake.
yeah.
Thanks
Like,
for that.
like that's the whole thing is like some of it like you know, it's like as far as his attitudes towards the lockdown, like I think in his heart he's very libertarian. I think he is, I don't think he's like Bill Gates.
It's
Like
not that.
he doesn't give me the vibe
No,
that
it's
he
not
is
that. It's because how's he going to get his next government contract if he can't get employers back into his factories?
well, I yeah, that's a valid point. But I just don't I don't think he's as malicious as Bill Gates. I think he's more of a useful idiot, but very smart in certain ways, which makes
I've
him.
never heard Elon Musk say anything that smart, to be honest with you. Ever.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. In general conversation, no, he doesn't say anything smart. Like that's the thing. He seems very ordinary and average. Like, but I can tell he understands computers very well. Like, but that's what I'm saying. You can be very smart in very specific ways. Like
No, I'm convinced it's just a retard actor.
that could be true. That could be because that's the whole thing. Like here's what I'm saying is like, you know, he could be the visionary to sort of think of how, you know, a brain would interface with this thing, but he's not a medical expert, so he's not doing the actual applying. He's not, you know, NASA, so he's not actually shooting the car in space. You know what I'm like? I'm saying he's lower on the totem pole than people think. He's not the one that's really implementing and doing his ideas.
No,
And
it's
like
just a
you said,
spokesman for
he's
it,
getting
exactly.
yeah, and he's getting government funding and stuff like that. You know, the same could be said about Walt Disney. Disney had the vision, but he didn't do the labor. He didn't make the things. He didn't, you know, he just sort of sat back and, you know, kind of oversaw. And history is filled with people like that. The majority of people that are your figurehead people, whether it's Walt Disney or Stan Lee or, you know,
Or the Beatles.
or yeah, there's always something behind it. Like it's the Wizard of Oz over and over and over again. I mean,
That's how you should end it, because the apocalypse is the great revealing. I think people forget that when you hear the word apocalypse. It's apocalyptic times, yeah. The great revealing, man.
yeah,
If this doesn't wake people up, it is end times.
yeah, that's how I
Yeah.
see it. I really look at it now again because there's a lot of people I know that were awake in specific areas and now they're awake in general,
The
seeing
thing
this.
is, I'm in that dangerous state now. Like, I'll be honest, it's not a suicidal state. It's nothing to lose state, and that's way more dangerous than being suicidal. I think
Yeah,
nothing to lose.
yeah,
Because I'm looking at my future now, the next couple of years. I'm like, what's it hold for me? It's like, is there any point having a job at all?
well, yeah. That's the thing. There's still a uncertainty.
What am I going to do with the extra income, even if I got a job? To get a job now at the kind of salary where I'd be satisfied, I think is out of the question. So, and even if you could get that money, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah. Well,
What am
that's
I going to do with this extra money I've got, Jamie? Tell me, what am I going to do with it?
well, and that's the thing is, I think most people, you know, it's like I'm the same way, where it's like, you know, it's
And I
like,
think it is going to be this thing where you don't need, like, that's a different subject altogether. I don't want to go too down this road, but we're going to have to start getting all our stuff from the government. Like, if you want to cook, they're going to have to like bring you the equipment, and you're just going to have to borrow stuff. I think the idea of ownership of stuff is gone.
and you know, it's
A, there's
interesting.
nowhere to buy it,
to just tie it back, it's interesting too because Elon Musk started off his podcast with him saying that Joe was asking him, like, he's basically selling all of his possessions and his houses and minimizing to next to nothing.
Yeah,
And
and everything you need would just be supplied by the government. What do you need? You just need some of your soy green, whether it was Soylent Green.
yeah, I'm sort of in that state too, where it's like, what do I spend my paychecks on? Because, like, there's nothing going on basically. Like, you can't go out to the movies or a concert, or you can't go out to eat. Like,
Can't take a girl out for a date. That's expensive. Can't do that.
yeah. Well, and see, and that's the other thing where it's like, it's sort of like feeds into that whole sexual
I don't want to
liberation
sound
thing
like
where
a
it's
tough
like,
guy. You must be like you're the same age as me. Could you imagine in your 20s, like this was the 1990s, well, it was the millennium, and they said to you over the millennium, we're going to lock you down in your 20s. There's no way any of us would be locked down. We'll still be out every day
Yeah.
with our mates. There's
yeah,
no way. I reckon there'd still be quite a few pubs open. Maybe not in the towns, but in the villages.
yeah.
Don't give a fuck, man.
Well, and it's funny when this whole thing first started.
And I can't imagine what damage this is going to do long term to kids.
I wonder, because my boss was it was funny, she was joking about the restaurant, saying it was like a speakeasy because people were coming in for takeout and being like, oh, I really
That's what
can't stay and
barber shops
eat.
are going to be. I can't get a haircut. I can't even find hair clippers online. You know, when you go online, it's like pick
That
up a
sucks.
store. They're all sold out.
I just gave myself a haircut like 2 days ago.
I
That's,
can't even buy a baseball cap anywhere.
wow. That's obnoxious.
Dude, I've been looking for a week for a pair of hair clippers.
I'll tell you, I did look
Whole
because
week.
at first I was like, you know what? If I have to do this face covering thing, I'm just gonna buy like a American flag bandana or some shit. And I looked on Amazon, and all of them were like, it will arrive in June. And I'm like, well, that's a little late.
You
Like,
shouldn't do that. I was reading in American history. You should never do that with an American flag.
really?
Yeah, it should only ever be a flag.
Hmm. Why is that?
Because it's counted as disforming the flag.
Huh.
So even if you made it into a suit or into, yeah, you shouldn't fold it or like it's counted as being disrespectful.
I do know about that with flags because I worked at a place that had some hung, and when we would take them down for the season, there's even a specific way it's supposed to be folded. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
this is
yeah,
a bit
yeah.
much.
They definitely shouldn't be wearing it around your head or wearing it as a suit or.
Yeah.
But you can cuddle it like Trump. That's fine.
But all right, well, let's wrap things up. I got some stuff to do around here, and then other plans in the evening.
The last thing I want to say is, when do you think food shortages will be a thing?
Dave said in the chat that he's heard that meat shortages have already started, and my family has said that
Yeah,
that
he's
they've
right,
gone
that's
to
what he
grocery
said.
stores and there was no meat, so they had to go somewhere else. So it kind of already has started.
And then how the restaurants open when there's a meat shortage? Tell me how that works.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's the other thing is like, they were doing all those small business loans and stuff like that, but it's like,
It's not. We're going to go to a digital currency where you're just able to buy food. And if you need to travel because you're a Jew, sorry, essential worker, you'll be able to do that. I think everything's going to be digital very quickly.
I could see that.
And just because you get your fancy pants and lollipops, people will take it. Because if you sign up first, you'll get like a bonus 1,000 points.
Well, and
Even Black Mirror's cancelled. They said
I
even though we
know.
filmed it,
I
it's
know.
all done. It's just too dystopic. It's too dystopic.
Well, I think the writer basically came out and said, like, what he was working on doesn't compare to what's happening. Like, so it just didn't feel right.
I think Watson hangs around with someone that writes in Black Mirror.
Wouldn't surprise me.
And I'm pretty sure he does. I think Watson may have I don't think they're friends, but I think it's sort of an acquaintance of. Is it Charlie Brooker? Is that the guy?
Yeah. Yeah, I liked his video. There's a couple funny parts in his COVID 1984 video. Like the Sam Hyde clips were pretty hysterical, and then the lockdown tips from Morrissey, like that had me rolling. Have you seen that?
Yeah. Well, how are your thoughts on your future? Like, what is the future going to be? I honestly think come 2022, like the depopulation, I don't want to scare people. I think it's going to hit 2 billion. They're going to kill 2 billion of us as a target 2022.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to
Have
not
you seen what it
think
looks like
that
trying to
far
get food
ahead.
in Africa at the moment? It looks insane with the drone footage.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we're going to have Bono trying to raise money from, oh, give us your fucking money. Give
That's
your
that's
fucking
the thing
money.
that is, like I said, is really upsetting me. This sort of fucking like squeezing blood from a stone thing where they're like, we know you have next to nothing, but donate, 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 and it's like,
Yeah, you could sell half of Slash's guitar collection and you've got a lot in the bank.
and that's the thing is like part of me has respect for Elon Musk that it's like, all right, if this is the route he thinks we should go, he's going there. It's like, but when you have these celebrities like Madonna and De Niro and all them being like, we should stay like this for the earth, it's like, all right, show me your fucking tiny house cabin you're living in and that you sold all your
We are going
mansions
to
to
do
feed
these pods,
Africa. Huh?
pod life. We're going to be pod life soon.
Yeah. And they're gonna have a handful of celebrities posing like that's where they're living, when it's actually going to be like who was it that they said never did a day in jail? I don't know if it was the Unabomber or there's one of those people though where they said they never did a day in jail. They just would bring them in for the interviews from there. Maybe it's Charles Manson. I don't. There's
I think it could have been.
yeah. There's one of those
There
people.
is a lot of evidence Charles Manson wasn't actually in jail for that much.
Yeah. I mean, there's a handful of those where they say it's, scripted and they weren't really in jail. They just ended it. I think Bobby D got. Bobby D is in Robert De Niro. Um, but yeah, it's, I don't know. Like I said, I'm trying not to think that far ahead because oh yeah, he was coming out against vaccines a few years back, and now he's a puppet for the WHO. You know, it's interesting because I watched a thing where it wasn't talking as much about Robert De Niro, but I think you could put him in the same category because that vaccine thing he was doing was with Robert Kennedy, and they basically said that Kennedy is like controlled opposition, where it's like he's supposed to be the sort of, oh, well, there's the one in power fighting for the anti-vaccine thing and just supposed to be there to get nothing done, but to make people think as if they're being represented. So, who knows? But you know, it is interesting that just reminded me of, remember that award show? It was the Oscars or the Golden Globes.
Oh, yeah, I posted
everybody
that, yeah.
getting shots.
After the pizza, everyone's just had their pizza was before that.
Yeah.
Because now we've all had our pizza, let's get our shots.
Yeah.
Did you not see? I rewatched the Madonna thing when she did what was the Madonna for the Eurovision Song Contest, and it had she's a song called "Not Everyone's Going to the Future, Not Everyone's Coming from the Past." These people in gas masks doing
On your
and she blows will die.
one, you're just cutting in and out. What was that?
Oh, Madonna. She had Madam X Eurovision Song Contest 2 weeks or so before the Corona stuff, and the song was "Not Everyone's Going to the Future, Not Everyone's Coming from the Past," and the dancers had gas masks on,
Wow.
and they had at first they were ritual outfits, black cloaks or whatever. There's 20 on the left and 20 on the right. So you had the 2020.
Yeah.
And they did the guys were wearing the gas masks. They did a Rin Roses kind of dance, and Madonna blows, and they all die. from her breath, I guess. And then she dies and she's resurrected as Madam X with the one-eyed X. And it is Virus X to start with, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I thought for all that stuff, and you had all the red and you had kind of lots of stuff in there, like you had the Masonic, black and white, no, you had lots of the devil kind of stuff in there. It's kind of really weird. It was definitely, you have to watch the Madonna thing. It was just insane.
Yeah, I'll have to check that
How
out.
ritualistic it was. I wrote a massive thing on it, but I can't remember all the stuff I saw, and I just kept listing it. And I got to like a list of like 10 really obvious things linked into the coronavirus.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
She even says something spooky at the beginning, like this is a ritual, a test, or something. And then it's like, not everyone's coming to the future, and everyone's coming from the past. And then everyone puts these gas masks on. And like I say, you got the 20 dancers on the left, the 20 dancers on the right. It was weird.
Yeah. But all right, well, let's wrap up for the day.
And on Madonna's album, on the back of it, she's typed on the Corona typewriter, and that came out way before the coronavirus.
That's crazy. I mean, I'm not surprised with her, but I'll have to look into that.
Oh, the other thing I found. Do you want me to send you some? You can buy adrenochrome online, the real stuff.
What?
Yeah, oh yeah. Town down the road. I went online to try and buy some adrenochrome. You can buy it. I mean, it's legit. And I checked the address of where this company is. They're only down the road.
What?
Yeah, and it takes a month to get here, so I guess it's coming in from China. Yeah, go onto Google now and type in adrenochrome, buy online, and you'll see you can buy it from this medical supply place.
That's
It's not that
crazy.
expensive either, 60 quid a bottle.
Wow.
You seen it? It's like one of the third things on Google. If you type in adrenochrome, buy. And you see it's a company based in Salisbury. It looks like a medical supply kind of thing. You just buy medical supplies. Like I've offered to buy it, but no one's up for taking it. I'm not fucking taking it. There's lots of drugs I'm willing to try, but that ain't one of them. Have you found it?
Yeah.
It's like one bottle was 60 quid and the other one was like something like 130 or something. They had like 2 left in stock. Why don't you buy yourself a bottle since you got some extra cash? That'd be a great podcast, Jamie. That'd be great. Mate, do you know how many views would get on that? Live adrenochrome sampling. I'll pay for it if you order it. And you eat it on a podcast. I'll send you the cash on PayPal. I might not ever talk to you again, like once you've done it. But
I'm just wondering, though, if it's like synthetic, because there's a patent that came
I think
up.
it might be synthetic, but even so, I think you should try it.
Maybe.
It'd be quite important research.
Add to cart right here.
How long does it take to deliver? Like,
Wow,
if
you
order
can
it,
get
it turns
you.
up and you get on the podcast, I'll pay you the 60 quid.
I wonder if that's the total, because I was gonna say that's a big jump in dosage. You can either get 25 milligram or 250 milligram.
25's plenty, man. I reckon.
Oh, we got some reviews. I bought it a couple months ago. I'm so happy I did. Thanks.
Well, you got
Just terrific.
Oh, I didn't know they had reviews on it. What are the reviews? What do they say?
Just terrific. I bought it a couple months ago. I'm so happy I did. Thanks.
That doesn't sound like what you get from a medical center.
I mean, honestly, I'd probably love it. Adrenochrome is an oxidation product of adrenaline. It inhibits COMT, promotes synthesis of another big word in brain tissue in vitro. promotes secretion of nerve growth.
Alex Jones should get on his show. He should get his
Oh
own
my God.
label. If you had Abrima Abramovich, just contact Alex.
No,
Yeah, she's
doesn't
trying to get on
surprise
track
me though.
to defend her position.
That would be a great
Alex
interview.
Jones, no, Alex Jones made a mistake not letting her on.
Yeah, I agree.
She wants to say how she's not a witch. No, I'm serious.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
She contacted him the day after the Microsoft ad got fucking ripped, pulled. She wants to explain how it's all art, and we just don't get it.
I would love to see that.
It'd be one of the greatest things ever.
Yeah. It would probably top anything else Alex Jones has done.
You'd have to get someone else with actions like David Knight just to like settle it a little bit.
Yeah.
I reckon Alex Jones might actually just kill her. Like if it was live in studio.
Yeah, I could see her saying something that would just set him off. So anything that concerns babies, I think he would lose it. Or I think he'd be like, so where are the vats of blood and semen and milk come from? Like,
He would torture it out of her, yeah. So, God, the camera's on now! Oh, God. How could you turn that down, Alex?
yeah. That would be far better than any Farrakhan or David Duke interview or
Well, you're going
interviewing
to
the
prison
president.
anyway.
Yeah,
Well,
right?
So, yeah. You may, because at least if you go to prison for that, that'd be alright.
Yeah, right? Yeah, if they were gonna lock him up, let it be for that.
It would be like, Alex Jones does live witch burning.
Yeah. Now, you know what's interesting? An interesting thought is I really wonder with this whole lockdown thing, you would think it'd really have to stall the whole child trafficking networks since there aren't kids out and about to snatch up.
Well, that's what I was wondering when I saw the headline: 100,000 flights coming into the UK. No, 100,000 people flying into the UK. What are they flying in for?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
They're not coming in to do our picking jobs. Like they're not doing that.
Yeah, who's coming
They're
in
not
for
coming
what?
on holiday, I assume. What are they doing? Going to go to like Madame Tussauds in London? I mean, what? I don't get. That'd be tourists. All right, you're gonna have how many family members? Could be a couple. You could get 20,000 out of that, I guess.
Yeah, but that's way too high. Like you said, what business do they have being there during a time like this?
I don't know.
Yeah. But all right, well let's wrap it up.
All right.
Get some stuff done. I'll talk to you later, man.
Yeah, well, you're the only person I've spoken to since we last spoke. That was like 2 weeks ago, man. It's
Wow.
insane.
Yeah, I'm starting to think it might be easier for us to start doing the show on Saturdays, but I'll message you about that.
You need to fucking make a decision whether you're gonna be a pussy or not. Really, don't you? Are you gonna get the adrenochrome or not?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Are you gonna eat it?
Yeah, down. Why
If
not?
you do, I'll pay for it. But I'm telling you, I might not ever speak to you again after it.
Just as long as it's synthetic. I'm not the real deal shit. I'm not with that. But if it's some synthetic
I don't
chemical,
really know
I'll
what
try it.
synthetic means these days.
Yeah, right. Who knows? Everything's
All right,
kind of
you order it.
synthetic.
Yeah, that's my promise to you. I'll pay for it, man.
All right.
It'll be the best pod, mate. Do you know you gotta do it? Do you know how many views we'll get on that?
Probably a ton. And
Yeah,
then
and you think we get away with that? I'm gonna have to do the follow-up call where you're just fucking out
Yeah.
of control.
yeah.
You're wanted. Sorry, I was gonna do an update of podcast, James. Turns out it's wanted.
That would be
And now we're on
funny.
lockdown, not because of the virus,
But because
all
of-
kids are
because of
locked
me.
down. No kids are out.
That would be
They
funny.
found kids. Yeah, there's no more gun bans until they find Jamie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
order it, man. Because it'll take ages to get to your house.
probably. Especially at this rate. Who knows? They might even be like, "Oh, we're out of stock until the lockdown ends."
I like the way you're scared of a vaccine. Where a synthetic adrenochrome thing's like, I'm in.
I mean, hey, it's it could be. What else am I doing? Who knows? Maybe it'll help me
What if
focus.
we start off a craze?
That would be really funny. If it becomes the new sort of
Mate,
like.
we'll be hated. It's like, not only did they start up a GoFundMe for these two races, they started eating adrenochrome live on podcasts. Synthetic or not.
Too funny. Yeah, next thing you know, we'd be getting calls being like, "We've been expecting you." We're like, "Oh, okay." Be like, roll up one pant leg, put on the
Yeah,
blindfold.
Jamie gets a giant rap career.
Yeah, right.
He's rapping with Eminem.
Oh man, that would be. And all it took was the
Opening for Madonna.
adrenochrome cast.
Yeah, all within a week. Jamie's opening for Madonna.
That would be too funny.
Got Beyonce on the podcast with Kanye.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be too
Yes,
funny.
Tom Hanks.
Next thing you know, Marina Abramovich
about
is
his
hitting
film
us up,
Big?
being
Big
like,
too.
Madrina Abramovich shoots us an email being like, "I heard you guys thought it would be a good idea to speak to me." Like, that would be too funny.
Yeah, order it, man. Because that would be the greatest podcast. That's an investment.
Yeah.
We will easily get that money back.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Are you going to seriously GoFundMe for these two guys?
I have to look into the
It would
story
be kind of
first.
fun.
Yeah, I think it would too. Yeah, I don't know. I'll look into the story, and yeah, if I think it's
Because
funny enough.
racism is dead in America, and if we can't bring it back, I mean, you can't bring it back with a GoFundMe. I don't know what.
Apparently it's right below the surface, so it shouldn't take much. That's what I hear. It's like a wildfire
make it
burning,
hilarious
but
as well. Like, we're going to need 25 million because we're going to need some high-end lawyers, and then I'm going to need a lawyer for fucking all the shit I'm going to get for just
yeah, for
the idea. And Jamie for posting it.
and then I'll also say
his
this
lawyers
is
going to be more than the lawyers for the murder case.
and just even be like, this is just for sheer equality because we feel as if the public perception scales have been
No,
tilted.
just say because
like,
white is right, and it's time to call Turdo.
Oh God. Well, at least I don't have my face on my profile pic, so hopefully I'll be a little
we're
bit
sick of
alright.
these bike thieves. He says he was jogging.
We know that was only because he hadn't
Yeah.
found a bike yet.
Mate,
Oh,
if you
man.
do that, you'll be legendary. I will push that page hard.
That's funny. I wonder, Facebook has a new council of censors. I wonder if
GoFundMe.
they'd even let it up.
Do it, man.
Alright. But
Alright.
alright, I'll talk to you later.
Alright, see ya.
Alright.